Hello and welcome to the first poem from your textbook. The name of the poem is A Photograph. And let's see what this poem has in store for us. The poem begins with the following lines. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands. Okay, and she, the big girl, some 12 years ago. So let's understand till here, these four lines. Now, this poem is a reflection of a daughter, a young girl who's looking at the photograph of her mother when she was 12 years old, right? And what does the daughter say? She says that the cardboard shows me how it was. Previously, unlike the digital era that we are in, photographs were framed into cardboards and it was put up on the walls. So she's looking at one of those photographs, she's looking at the cardboard, and she's saying that the cardboard tells her and shows her that how it was. How was that scene at that time? When the two girl cousins went paddling. Now, her mother, along with two of her cousins, two other sisters, went paddling. Paddling means walking. Went paddling with two other cousins of hers. And she, the big girl, some 12 years ago, each one holding one of my mother's hands. Both the girls, her sisters, were holding her mother's hands. And she is the eldest one. She's about 12 years old and she's standing in between. So this is what the poetess has imagined, right? She's thinking when she's looking at the picture. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. So they are getting themselves clicked. They are still to smile. They are getting clicked. Looking at the uncle. They are getting clicked. And a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. And she's saying that her mother's face was very sweet, right? Before the daughter was born. So she's saying that her mother was very sweet. Her face looked sweeter, much more than today, before she was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. And she says about the sea that the sea, which appears to have changed less, that means it is pretty much the same as it used to be at that time. It is pretty much the same. Seems that it is washing their terribly transient feet. Transient, lasting or continuing for a short period of time. Anything which is temporary. The meaning of transient is the poetess is saying that their feet seem to be transient. Transient means temporary. Anything which is there only for a very short period of time, which is not permanent, right? So her feet are temporary and the sea seems to be washing their feet, right, with water. Some 20 years later, she'd laugh at the snapshot. See, Betty and Dolly, she'd say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. Both re with the labored ease of loss. Yes. Now she says that some 20 years later, she'd laugh at the snapshot. Who is she here? Here she is the mother. She's making a reference to her mother and saying that she would laugh at the snapshot. Snapshot is the photograph. That she would be laughing and smiling at the photo. And what would she say? She would say Betty and Dolly. So Betty and Dolly are the names of her cousins, right? Betty and Dolly are the names of her cousins, and how they dressed us for the beach, and how they would dress us up to go to the beach. The sea holiday was her past. The sea holiday was her past. Whose past? The mother's past. This was her mother's past. Now it's over. And she's saying, mine is her laughter. Mine is referring to the poetess. The poetess says that mine is her laughter. Mine is a laughter means that her mother is no more alive. She's passed away, and that is why her laughter seems like past to her, that it's all gone. Both re with the labored ease of loss. Both re with the labored ease of loss, that the both are lost. Her past, the mother holiday is past, and her laughter is also past. They both are lost now. Now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. And of this circumstance, there is nothing to say at all. It's silence, silences. And she's saying that she has been dead for as many years as that girl lived. Right? So, she's gone long back, and her age has been the same age as that girl who lived. So, this circumstance, there is nothing to say, and there's nothing to say in such a situation. What would anyone say in such a situation? There's just silence. And she says it's silence, silences. The silence of the situation silences us all. That we are not able to speak anything because of the mother going away and she being all alone, the poetess being all alone. So that's the silence in the past. That silence silences them. It's quite painful and quite difficult also. Let's look at the figure of speech being used here. The first figure of speech that is used here is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the same sound at the beginning of words which are close together. For example, my mother's hands, stood still, smile. Then terribly transient feet. So terribly transient, silence, silences. Here also. You'll find the same sound at the beginning of words, and wherever you find the same sound before the beginning of the words, all such words are said to be, following alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the sound. Then the second literary device being used here is transferred epithet. Okay, now what is that? It is a literary device in which an adjective is usually used to describe one thing is transferred to another. Any adjective which is used normally to describe one thing gets transferred to the other thing. That adjective, what are adjectives basically? Adjectives are describing words, they describe, right? So all such adjectives which are used to describe one thing, now they get transferred onto describing the other thing. Every such place is supposed to be having a transferred epithet, right? For example, washed their terribly transient feet, right? Now it says washed their transient feet. Feet is the noun, right? And look at this, terribly transient. So the adjectives that are used here are describing something else. They're not describing one word, they're describing something else. Hence, it is transferred epithet. Then the third is personification. It is the attribution of human characteristics to non-human things and animals, right? When we give human-like characteristics, human-like traits to any particular animal or animal or any object or anything, there we are using the literary device called personification, right? Personification, look at this. The cardboard shows me how it was. right? So the cardboard in this line is looking like humans because it is showing. The cardboard here is showing to the poetess how it was. So here, because it has human-like qualities, the figure of speech being used here is personification. Then look at the third one, oxymoron. Oxymoron is the combination of two words that seem to be in opposite of each other. Opposite of each other. एक दूसरे के उल्टा मीनिंग होता है उन वर्ड्स का, राइट? सो ऑल सच words are supposed to be having oxymoron, right? Now, what is the figure of speech? What does it mean? Labored ease. Now, labored means worked hard. When you really labored hard, when you worked hard at something, then you have labored. And ease is just the opposite. Ease is very coolly, very calmly, without making much of an effort. So aren't these two words different in meaning? Labored means put in a lot of hard work, put in a lot of labor, put in a lot of effort. And ease means very easily, very smoothly, without any problem, right? So because the meaning of these two words is just the opposite of one another, hence the figure of speech being used here is oxymoron. Let's have a look at the question and answers. What does the word cardboard denote in the poem? Why has this word been used? Okay. We see that the word cardboard denotes the photograph pasted on a hard thick paper, right? Previously, cardboards would be the stuff, the object on which photographs were pasted, and it was then put up on the wall as a frame. This word has been used to refer to a practice in the past when photographs were pasted on cardboard and framed with glass front to preserve them, right? So why has this word been used? This word has been used here, in my opinion, to denote that this was something from the past. It was done from the past. It is something from the past and it used to happen, which is now not in use anymore, right? Yes. Poet's mother in the middle and the two cousins on either side holding her hands and walking bare feet in sea water. Question number 3. What has not changed over the years? Does this suggest something to you? Now, it's about two, recurring themes. One is what is lost, one is what is temporary, and the other is what has not been lost, what is permanent, right? So which is that other thing? Let's see. The sea has not changed over the years. Number 1, its waves are as fresh, shining and tireless as they were years ago. The changelessness of sea reminds us of the changes in human face with advancing age. So there is a suggestion that the changelessness of the sea, unchanging nature of the sea, unchanging nature of the sea is very different from the changes in human face with advancing age. So there is a contradiction. There are two opposite meanings given in this very paragraph, in this stanza. Question number 4. The poetess's mother laughed at the snapshot. What does this laugh indicate? Now this laugh indicated her joy at remembering an incident connected with her past life when she was young and free from the tensions and worries of life. Yes. So this actually indicated that she was very carefree, she was very happy, very, joyful all the time when she was young, which probably must not have been when she grew a little older. Question number 5. What is the meaning of the line, both re with the labored ease of loss? Now, the sea holiday and the laughter of the poet's mother are incidents from the past. there is a sense of loss associated with them, both, right? Sea holiday, because the mother didn't get any more holidays. Then, uh, the poet's mother laughing. Now, this was actually a loss for the poet because she had lost her mother quite a while back. Both are amusing yet disappointing, as the state of feeling comfortable or relaxed is unnatural or forced one. This sense of loss is quite painful to bear. Question number 6. What does this circumstance refer to? This circumstance refers to the death of the poet's mother. Question 7. The three stanzas depict three different phases. Name them. Answer. The girlhood of the poet's mother, which is the period before the birth of the poet. Then second is the middle age, the period during the childhood of the poet. And the last is the period after the death of the poet's mother. With this, we come to the end of the poem. Stay tuned in for other chapters. Thank you so much.